Hello and welcome to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, right behind me, I have an explorer called the DRAKE Corsair. Let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be looking at the DRAKE Corsair, which is a very popular ship out there in the verse, and there's a very good reason for that. This ship has the ability to do almost anything in this game, and that's just fantastic. So before we get into that, I just want to say thank you to everybody that has joined me on my channel and watched my videos and subscribed and is just here, watching everything, because it's just awesome. 8 months ago, I would have thought I never would have been hitting 5,000 subs soon. And I was just happy seeing 500 or 1,000 subs. It was just amazing, I love making videos, and I love that people love to watch it. And there's even some people that watch the channel that don't even have the game. That's just awesome. Hopefully anybody that does and doesn't have the game gets to join us here sooner or later and really gets to have fun and take part in the verse. But yeah, while we sit here taking a look at the Corsair, and I'm just rambling on about how much I appreciate all you guys. Once we do hit 5,000 subs, I'm going to be starting another giveaway brought to you by me, and I just really appreciate all of you. So let's go ahead and get started on this big old Explorer here. And it's funny because it's called an Explorer, and most people say, it's an Explorer, all right, of people's cargo holds. Yeah, I don't know about that. It really is, though. And this ship is fantastic at, taking on pretty much any role out there. And it's going to get even more exciting once more of those roles really open up, like exploration in the verse. Starting off with the price, this ship is $250 if you were to pledge for it on the pledge store. Now, if you were to buy it in game, it is $6,552,000 aUEC, which is perfect. It's not a bad price at all. I was expecting that price to be worse in 3.23, and I was like, wow, that's actually not terrible at all. So it's a great price point for such a great ship. And starting with that, this thing is just chock full of weapons. And a lot of it is pilot-controlled weapons. I mean, take a look at that. Look at that shooting. If anybody has, epilepsy, please be careful with that. It's very flashy. It's 3,518 DPS on all these guns. And it's just phenomenal. And then outside of, the pilot-controlled guns, you have a remote turret with two size 2 CF227 Badgers on the top, and then you have two man turrets, one on each side here, with also two size 2 CF227 Badgers. So this thing just has a plethora of weapons, including 8 size 3 Arrestor 3 missiles. That is just phenomenal. This thing just can really throw out a punch and hit hard and, leave nothing standing. And that's just a stock, this is just stock, right? So imagine if you swapped out all these weapons for, I don't know, ballistics or cannons or, not laser cannons, but ballistic cannons or, it just depends. People like what they like, and there is always a meta in these games, right? As of right now because of balancing. So honestly, these laser cannons could be the go-to, or, maybe not the M series. Maybe you can go with the FLs or something like that and have a little bit more speed to the gun with a little bit more capacitor, but not as much damage. But there's just so much variety that you could really test out with this thing, and that's phenomenal. But stock alone, it's already great. It's just got very low capacitors on the guns, so just make sure you hit your target, and this will be fantastic. Now, outside of the guns and the damage that it outputs, this thing has 100,000 shield strength. Now, that sounds like a lot, but you got to be careful, because that's 100,000, not bubble shield, but quadrant. Quadrant shield means that you have 4 sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, right, left, front, and back, and that's split up. So it's 25,000 shield strength for each side of the ship. So that means when you get hit and you lose a shield face, that's it. If you get hit on that side of the ship, you're now taken away from the ship's health pool, and that is something to consider. 100,000 is still quite a bit, though. If you're very, good at rotating your ship and taking fire on all sides, you potentially you won't even lose any of your shields in a fight. And that's always plausible. I've always thought this ship sat way too low to the ground. I wish they'd lift this thing up about 1.5 feet, 2 feet, If this was truly replicating real life, we would already have a shop in the game where you can go to it and add a lift kit to your ships, right? You know what I'm saying? Because this is just ridiculous. This is terrible. Can you imagine trying to work on some of these things and having to be like literally laying on the ground? I hope someday they lift this up just a little bit, lower that ramp. Fine, whatever. If the ramp's coming in at a weird, angle, whatever, we'll make it work. Come on, get this thing off the ground a little bit, guys. Otherwise, though, it's got a great profile. I think it looks fantastic. She's chunky, but and she flies like she's chunky too. She's very weighty and she flies like a whale. But it has to, with how big those guns are and how many guns there are on this ship. You can't just expect this thing to fly like, a fighter, right? Now, outside of that 100,000 shield strength, you do have a 91,000 ship health pool. So it's not like you're losing a shield and you're instantly dead. You do have quite a bit of health. And of course, if you look at the breakdown, it is put onto a lot of different areas of the ship. There's a lot of little winglet areas and stuff like that. And you do have to be careful because some of these wings can be very damaging to your future life if you lose one, right? So if you lose a whole side of a wing or something, there's potential you're not going to have control over your ship. Drake is notorious for that, especially like on the Cutlass. You typically you lose an engine nacelle and you're just there's a good chance they're going to be rotating until you no longer have consciousness and you're blacked out for the rest of your life. So it's always be wary of that. These wings, they're just like, something else that's Drake. They fall off, they break apart very easily. So always keep that in consideration. Move your ship around when you're attacking or getting attacked. Let the hull actually take the hits and not the wings. Do your best to avoid, getting hit there. But outside of that, you do have these big chunky engines on each side, and one of the little engines here actually does rotate, as you can see on screen, to be a VTOL engine. It helps you lift off and everything when you need it, which is great. Always nice to have a little bit more strength when you're taking off from a high gravity area. And then outside of that, you do have a 72 SCU of cargo here in the back. That's a pretty big cargo grid for this ship, honestly, and you can even fit some vehicles back here, which is fantastic. You can't fit a ballista, you can't fit a Nova tank, but you can definitely fit things like a rock and other, vehicles back here, which is fantastic. Anything that can support vehicles is always a favorite of mine. But once again, and I always hate to pick this out, these ships just have 0 windows. I mean, who lives like this, right? Can you imagine buying a car with only a front windshield and no windows anywhere else? I'm just done with that. We need some more windows on these starships. You want to see what's out there. You know what I mean? So, past that, before we go any further into this ship, let's talk about the speed of this ship. Just because those engines are huge doesn't mean this ship is fast. It sits at 200 SCM speed as a top, with a 400 forward boost and a 205 backwards boost, and a top nav speed of 1,000. Which is actually quite, kind of surprising. You're pretty close to, hull A speed and, raft speed. And that's, man, you got to be very wary of that, because you're slow. So not only are you a big target, but you're a slow target. So, and you're not maneuverable. So always keep your guns facing towards what's attacking you. Try your best at that. And, do what you can. You have the shields and the health pool to do it. So don't think like this ship is going to just fall apart that quick. It's a great ship. It really is. It has 6,900 quantum fuel, too. I like that. 6,900, 6,900 quantum fuel. So, just like Drake to have it at that number. So, a good amount of quantum fuel to get across the verse and even explore Pyro, because this ship will definitely look great in Pyro. Pyro's meant for the Drake fanatics. So, this is just a fantastic ship for it. It already looks like it's built from all the scrap yards around Stanton. So, hey, get ready for Pyro, bring this thing in, and have fun. Let's go ahead and take a further look into the ship. And as you can see to the left, there are, some components that are physicalized. Well, kind of. They're not really physicalized. You can't pull them out. So They look physicalized, but honestly, not so much, you know. So yeah, maybe it's just because of the size of them. I did remember hearing something about certain sizes, you're just not going to be able to move around. So maybe that's the case. Outside of that, this ship does have full physicalization with a lot of its buttons and everything, which is really cool. Like, you know, you go here, you can mess with the ramp, you can turn on exterior lights, you know, there's all sorts of different functions, which is cool. This ship actually has a lot of floodlights and stuff on the bottom, so when you're landing, you have landing lights, you have ramp lights. It's just a lot of things and features you'd think you'd see on more ships coming out. So hopefully we'll start seeing that. Hopefully it wasn't just a Drake design to have landing lights. This is your exploration command center, you know, engineering station, everything to do. This is like the heart of your ship, basically, because it has all the rest of your components and just a lot of functionality for engineer stations, as well as if you needed to do any sort of planetary scans or anything, this is where you're going to do it. These are really big components to be stuffed in such a small room, so if you do have to replace anything, it is going to be quite fun, especially when you're running around in a panic and you trip over something that's on the ground, because in Drake fashion, it's nothing like splitting your head open on one of these rails. If you move to the right here, go through this door, it is the area to go to the airlock, and you do have a couple suit lockers, as well as your weapon locker over there, and your heavy weapon locker right behind you. So, like, if I were to pull out not the med pen, not the pistol, but like this, the railgun, I can absolutely place this railgun here and place another one over here. Surprisingly, I thought that railgun was going to be much bigger when I put that there, but guess not. Go ahead and put that back on my person here, and you can also put handguns, rifles, suits. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, you have your airlock here, so if you are, you know, boarding another ship or something in the future, this would be a great place to hop out of once you get geared up. Fantastic. Love it. I swear, I thought I've hit the open button a few times. Oh, there we go. Like I said, physicalized buttons. If you see that, look at that. How cool that is. Oh, I just closed the door. I almost just cut myself in half, so that would have been fun. We're going to go ahead and move on to the rest of the ship before I actually do that. And right here is the living quarters, which is great. You got a really good feel of Drake in here. You know, you got the benches, you got really nice kitchen. You know, it just looks fantastic. You know, the door panels, I love the physicalization of everything, and all these like little areas for utensils, and, you know, all these bowls and everything that's going to be flying around when you're flying the ship. That is just fantastic. I bet they're magnetized, right? That's what I would assume, just so they're not flying around. And then you have a great table with some bench seating here, and then of course, in all Drake glory, you know, you have the bathroom right next to where everybody's eating. So hopefully this is airtight, so if you're in here and you are really letting loose, nobody else has to take part in that, right? Just make sure you get this, you know, you turn on the vac here and get all that smell out so you don't bother the rest of your crew. Remember, you're on a ship meant for pirates, so you might not want to piss them off. Behind each one of these doors here is a crew quarter. Honestly, I feel like the captain's crew, or like the captain's bunk would be one of these three, and not the one forward. And I'm going to tell you a reason why right now. So imagine as a captain, you're sitting back here, you have a little bit more space from everything. Because, I mean, as the captain, are you flying the ship or are you commanding everything else, right? That's the weird thing about Star Citizen, in my opinion, is when you're a captain of a ship with crew like this, typically you're flying the ship, right? Because another, like Star Wars and stuff like that, captains, I guess, if you look at like the Millennium Falcon, the captain flies the ship, right? Han Solo. But like on an Empire vessel, the captain stands over a bridge while there's a pilot. So you have those three areas here with a suit locker and storage underneath the bed, so you can open that there. And, you know, you got your nice bed, pretty decent mattress with some cargo above. And this is literally replicated in each room, so not much of a difference there. So pretty cool. But going back to what I was saying, man, my ADHD's kicking in. Right here is an elevator. If you call this elevator, this is a second entrance to the ship, or third technically. You can take this to the surface, or you can go to the roof, which is really cool. It can take you straight up to the roof, which will allow you to explore the top of your ship, or, you know, easy access to EVA out in space, which is awesome. I just really love the physicalization. I think they need to do that in more ships. But continuing on. I'm just going to continue sidetracking myself here. Here is the turret access for each side of the ship. So, you know, someone would just hop into each seat and you're good to go. And then if you move forward, this is where I'm talking about. So if you open this door here, there's another bed and whole setup. It's pretty similar, a little bit moved around. And this is where you typically would call the captain's area, right? So if the captain is the pilot, this is perfect for that role, because then they're just right next to the seat. If there is an emergency, they can just get up, run to the seat, get in the pilot seat, and, go. But if the captain is just standing here while there is a pilot, I would assume that the pilot would be bunked here just so they would have the access to the cockpit right away. So very, very interesting on how you want to run your ship. Are you the captain and sitting behind the pilot seat, or are you the captain standing here commanding how everything is run, right? Now, this is just really cool. It feels very Star Wars, honestly. I feel like this is like a Millennium cockpit. It really does. It's got so many struts. This is like really, what are they trying to do? Replicate RSI? Come on. Outside of that, you do have all your MFDs here, which is pretty neat, and a nice little fan. That's cool. I like that. And then a MFD on the floor too, because, in Drake fashion, you have to have pieces of your ship laying everywhere, right? Because it wouldn't be Drake if you didn't. So I'm just happy they put handlebars everywhere. They're very safety conscious about the handlebars, but they just left all these, electrical cables everywhere and, everything else. Right here is the co-pilot seat. If you were to get into this seat here, it actually takes you underneath. You don't just sit here looking at a pole. You get into the seat and it takes you right below, which is fantastic. You get a underneath view just to sit here and watch as you raid someone else's ship. That's awesome. So go ahead and get out of that really quick and head back up to the top here. Now, outside of that, this ship does do pretty good in a fight. It's really great. Everybody kind of loves this ship. So many people do use it, and I don't see a reason why not. It's got a good amount of cargo, not like top tier, right, for cargo in this class, but it's a good amount. The weapon, it's a weapons platform. That's what it is. This ship's a weapons platform with the ability to carry that cargo and have plenty of quantum fuel to do that. It moves like a whale. She's fat. She's slow. That is just what it is, right? And she's got no windows. You got a crew back there that's losing their mind. This is going to be a ship full of reavers by the end of the day, because everybody's going to lose their mind when they can't see what's going on outside the ship for their entire life until they're in the turret, or they come up here to the cockpit and annoy the hell out of you. So outside of that, I'm going to give you my score on this ship. Obviously, it's a fantastic ship. It has so many abilities and roles. You can take this ship on a salvage mission. You can take this ship out to create a salvage mission, Really quick, I'm going to show you those wings folding out. Oh, I left that back door open. I'm terrible. I'm going to go ahead and shut that here in just a second. Pretty cool. Wings folding out, and, it's pretty neat. I like that. Let me see if I can find the button to... Oh, right there's to extract the wings. That's your landing gear. I see these buttons are all physicalized. I love it. But I'm not... Oh, there it is. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to hit this one. That should close it all up. Perfect. Now, it's just a fantastic ship. You can take it and do anything. You can do bunkers. You can do bounties. You can do... pretty much any role. You can take it to a salvage op. You can be the person that starts that salvage op by, attacking a ship. It really is an exploration ship, because you can explore every mission type. You want to go find someone that's lost in a cave, why not take the Corsair? You never know what you might encounter. She's heavy, she's slow, but she's fantastic. This ship is a 9 out of 10 for me, and I do think it's a 9 out of 10. I would give it that 10 out of 10, but given the price point, it is a little lacking on cargo. It's more of a multitask ship. It's got everything you need, but it's not like the most amazing at anything. And it's not terrible at anything either. It's really great. It's a fantastic ship, honestly. You could rate it 10 out of 10, or even me, it's a 9 out of 10, but I could easily see a 10 out of 10 if you were to argue it, honestly. What do you think of the Corsair? Down in the comments below. Let me know, do you have one? If you don't, are you going to get one? It's a great ship. And, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. You all are amazing. I appreciate you all. And this one was a longer one. Whew, can't wait to do the Carrack someday. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.